All right, how you all doing? Hope you all doing well. I thought I just want to kind of talk about something real quick. Is that I notice that when you become like a pretty ambitious guy, I start to realize I become kind of like less relatable to like people that you used to grow up with, who don't really understand you, why you do this, why do you want to grind, why do you want to make money, why do you want to go off your passions. And I start to kind of realize that someone like who's a pretty like ambitious guy myself, because like over time, like even like today, even like I just caught up with my like my high school friends, just like to go for a gym session. And I don't know if it's me or it's them, or like I just felt like kind of like sometimes, or maybe it could be me perhaps personally. Like sometimes there's days where like the conversations we talk about just kind of gets like meaningful. Like for example, like it's like for example when you share like a win in life, I feel like you're like so you have some certain friends who don't really appreciate it as much. Like for example, like let's say that it could be like I don't know, you make this amount of money, or you at the same time achieve some sort of goal, and then let's say you tell like a friend, like some friend do appreciate, but some people like kind of in their own little world and they don't really appreciate that much, and it kind of like makes me feel a bit like I don't know, like I don't know if it's them or it's me, but it could be a me problem honestly. Like it could be a me problem honestly. Maybe it's just like I'm thinking my own little world and not actually paying attention of their own little world. Like what I'm saying is like it's hard to find people who relate to you when you become like an ambitious guy, when you actually want to actually do something meaningful, actually want to put yourself out there. Because I notice like a lot of non-ambitious people is a lot of them just kind of like live in the moment. They just start talking about movies, and they start talking about like random people from high school or some like some dumb shit from like mainstream media stuff. And there's nothing wrong with like living your life like that. I don't have any like problem to anyone who lives that life. For example, like, and that's their definition of happiness. But someone like me, like if you're like someone who's a very ambitious guy in general, you're gonna probably have a hard time to relate to friends you used to like hanging out back in high school. You're just gonna find a hard time, honestly. And that's what I kind of learned as someone who actually has went through so much experiences. Like for example, traveled to cool places, met really interesting people. I just kind of find it hard for me to relate to people I used to like enjoy hanging out with when I was in high school, right? But now like as time goes by, it's kind of hard for me to relate to them, because I feel like I actually like experienced so much shit where when you go hang out with your friend from high school, they're still doing the same thing. It's just nothing's changing, like they're not growing with you. And that's the thing about when you're an ambitious guy who starts doing your own thing. It's hard to relate to people who um who are very ambitious, who not ambitious as you. And that's the thing. That's why like someone like myself personally, I only can relate to people who are ambitious. Those are the only people I can relate to. I only relate to people who like to put themselves out there and actually try shit and actually do stuff that's outside the norm. Those are the people I only relate to. I don't really relate to people who just like sit around and do fuck all. I can't relate to them. It's just not my values, bro. Like that's why in my opinions, like the people you used to hang out with from high school or uni or whatever it is, right? Well, it depends on the person, obviously. Don't really last long, because you only hang out with people who has similar values as you. Those are the people you only like hang out with. You like hanging out with people who have like similar values, who like to push themselves out there. Like when you hang out with people who don't are not like as ambitious as you, it's gonna be a hard time, because a lot of ambitious people like myself, we're always talking about the future. We're always talking about things what we're going to do today to get to our goals, right? That's the thing about ambitious people, but non-ambitious people, they don't talk about the future. They just talk about the past. A lot of fucking people who are not ambitious just keep talking about the past. They keep talking about the past, or they keep talking about other people, which is understandable. But that's why I have to change the people I hang out with, honestly. That's why you got to surround yourself with people who want to achieve something big. Like even yesterday, I was catching up with a friend, right, that I haven't seen for a year. And when I was talking to him, right, I felt fucking inspired, honestly, because he went through some weird some weird fucked up shit. Like he was telling me like he was working in a construction job. Well, he was working in fashion, right? But then he quit that fashion because it wasn't for him. And now and then afterwards he ended up working construction, and then I think later on he ended up getting some really bad incident where he almost where he was end up in hospital where he couldn't move his legs and his arm. Like he was in the fucked up position. But now like he's over it. Now he is doing pretty well and actually getting to like the freelance content creation world. Now he's been getting like free stuff or even like getting clients, which is it's so fucking inspiring. Like I just feel inspired just just having a chat. I just feel energized. But then today when I hang with my like high school friends, it's just nothing. It's just very the conversation is boring. Like I find it's hard for me to relate to people who don't have goals in life. I just can't how the fuck am I gonna relate to them, bro? Like I don't want to sound like a dick or whatever, but it's hard to relate to people who just want to go with the flow and just live in the present moment, which is nothing's wrong living the present moment. I think it's good to learn the present moment, but then the thing is that if you live your life like that, then you're just gonna live like a life very directionless. There's nothing happening. That's why the people I hang out. That's why I always start hanging out with people who always push me, a lot. Because a lot of ambitious people are always trying to push you, no matter what. They're always down the grow, like, oh yeah, go for it. Or they're always thinking of ideas that will help you get to the next step. That's a lot of ambitious people in general. A lot of ambitious people are like that. And that's why you got to change your environment if you want to become successful in any form of field. And it's just kind of weird how I just felt like I had a great time talking to them, but I don't know, at the same time I feel like my energy was drained a bit. Like sometimes if my energy's drained, I just feel like I could just spend time by myself, to be honest. Like the reason I only catch them because I hit the gym and maybe just go for brunch as a way to talk and all that. But then at the same time, sometimes the conversations are very very pointless, I guess. Because I always keep bringing back high school friends, or I always keep bringing up high school friends because that's not the only thing you relate to, right? You only relate to situations from high school, and then it's just there's no really growth. When there's no growth, I just don't really want to meet these people or hang out with these people because after a while, when there's no growth, what's the point hanging out after a while? It's just there's nothing in it for me to hang out, and it's just when someone doesn't have a direction in life, they're just gonna fall behind. That's what happens when you stop learning and when you stop growing. You're just gonna fall behind, bro. You know how sometimes there's the old saying when people get too big, they end up ditching their high school friends or ditching people they used to know. It's not because they ditched them. It's because they've grown. They have other goals in life, and I know it might sound harsh, but if someone's not growing with you, it's just not gonna work out, bro. It's just not gonna work, man. If someone doesn't have a goal in life or doesn't have a direction and doesn't want to go in, then you might have to leave them behind. Because if you hang out with these people who are not growing to, they're gonna bring you down. A lot of them are gonna fucking bring you down. That's the thing. They're gonna bring you down if you hang with fucking losers who don't have a direction in life. They're gonna bring you down because you have to fucking bring your standards down to keep at their level. But the thing is, that's the thing, right? So, and I remember a friend of mine, I was talking about the guy I was talking mentioned about the guy from yesterday. He was in the construction incident. He was telling me a story on he used to hang out with a mate from high school, and he said the same thing. There was a period where he was getting a bit doing other things, doing a lot of things, right? But that guy wasn't actually living up to his standards. So that's the thing about life, there's gonna be people gonna come and go. And that's okay, man. Sometimes you got to move on, there's going to be people who are going to come along your journey, and there's going to be people who are going to leave your journey. And sometimes you just got to embrace that. You just got to embrace it. You just got to just focus on what you can do, because that's why you got to find people who has to be ambitious. It doesn't have to be exactly the same goals. It's more has the same values. I think that's what I would say. I think in terms of having a good relationship with friends, right? Or even when you find a good relationship with a girlfriend, you guys have to have similar values. Because if you don't have similar values, it's not going to work out. Just because you're both into the same interests or same hobbies, right? You could be like, let's say, like your friends into photography and I'm into photography, but if they don't have the same values, then it's just not gonna work, right? Because for someone like me, I do photography, but I couldn't really like be friends with certain photographers who don't have the same values, who don't have the same like ambition as I do. Because let me tell a story, right? There was a period where I used to do landscape photography, right? And I was hanging with a friend of mine who was about the same age as me, right? He was into landscape photography as well, which is cool, right? We both were into landscape. But the thing is that he wasn't really ambitious in terms of like making it into a career. Like he wasn't interested in like, traveling the world, taking photos and doing and going to cool places and do that stuff, right? He wasn't really interested in like, trying to get making it into a business basically. But as someone like me, I was really interested in that. I was very interested in like, traveling the world, making it into a business, learning sales, marketing. I was really interested, but he wasn't really. And over time, like we're still friends, but we haven't really caught up for a while. Is because it's been a while. It's because we don't really in line with the same values as we do. Because I realized like, and he's still a good friend to talk to, like to catch up. But I feel like now I gained so much experiences where it's kind of hard for me to like relate to him because I've been through so much experiences, such as going like hardship experience where my business wasn't doing well, where I wasn't getting clients, or like where things weren't going well. But for him, he hasn't been through those experiences, so he doesn't relate to me in that way. And I just kind of find it hard for people who can relate to me in that sense because when you're an ambitious guy, right, there's always going to be some things that's just not going to turn out well. There's always going to be some hard lessons. There's always going to be some ups and downs. There's going to be a period where things are not going to turn out well. There's going to be a period where, let's say, you're not making much money, or for example, like you have a really bad breakup. That's just part of life. And also, it's hard to find friends who've never been through that stage, because when you have people who have not been through the same experience as you, it's going to be pretty damn hard for people to relate to you. That's why sometimes relatability is everything, honestly. Like, I imagine, like, people who who are very ambitious can relate to a lot of ambitious people. I can definitely relate to that, honestly. So, that's what I've got to really say, honestly, because I just want to kind of just talk about this because it's just a thought I've just been feeling like because I wasn't really in the mood to talk in front of camera, but I just didn't know what to talk about, so I just thought I'd just talk about this since it's like at the back of my mind and just kind of just express my opinions. And yeah, I don't know if you gain some sort of value out of it, but I imagine like, so if you're an ambitious guy watching this, you probably can relate to me or like people who are ambitious. So I don't know. I hope you gain some sort of value. I hope you like, I don't know. I don't know if you got some value, but that's what I got to say. So yeah. Anyways, if you like this type of content, more like kind of self-development or business or motivation type content, consider liking and subscribing because this is more like a selfish-ish content. I literally make this content just to get better talk in front of camera. That's why I actually make this channel actually. So yeah. All right. I'll catch you around. See ya. Bye.